Okay, we're going to continue the drawing from a photograph. And I realized that in that first video, I actually did, I started the second step. So the first step is to choose your photograph, and sometimes that takes a while. And then outline the major shapes. And that's all kind of one step together, even though it's maybe really two. But the second step is to start paying attention and modifying it. And I've already begun to do that. I moved the ear down. I sort of played around with the locations of the eyes a little bit and the shapes of the eyes. And even though I'm not so sure that they're exactly where they should be, I'm just deciding for this particular drawing it's close enough. And then some of the other things that I've modified as I've gone is, you know, where the head sits, and even little movements in this whatever this is, the white of the blanket and the orange of the dress. So as you move from establishing the outlines and you're starting to get ready to start putting in the value, the lights and the darks, you want to kind of make sure that you have things where you want them, and they might not be perfect, but they're close enough for the drawing that you're going to do for this round. And so I've kind of decided that I'm going to start putting in some of the value range. I'm going to darken some areas and show the evidence of light and shadow and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and start that, even though I'm not totally in love with all of my lines exactly where they are. I'm just going to move forward. So here's, and as I move, I see, okay, so this in the picture, this goes down to right behind the sleeve. So I'm going to bring it down to there. And then this is going to also come down. So that's going to be kind of the shape of the yellow part of that, the headgear. Call it headgear. And then underneath, this is an area of shadow. I'm still drawing lightly. I'm darkening a little bit, but not too dark yet, because I'm not. Once you go too dark, like there's a dark area, maybe I'll darken that a little bit more. But once you go too dark, you kind of can't really come back from it without making your drawing kind of look like a bunch of eraser marks. Okay, so this is about the evidence of light, and you know there's subtle details that you could start putting in at this point too, but mostly I'm trying to pay attention to light and value range more so than intricate details of, like, you know, like all these little patterns on the headpiece. I could spend a lot of time trying to get those right, and maybe I will, but maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just leave it like that because you know, like, look, there's a little bit of a place on the hood where there's a little indentation, and it just gives some character to the head, to the hat, you know. And there's some places where you can put contour lines without necessarily drawing in all of the little details. The details are fun, but what I'm saying is, maybe fun's the wrong word. For some people, details are something you enjoy. But what we're trying to do right now is just think big picture. So we're looking at like little shadows and things like that. Those kinds of details. Evidence of light. And kind of trying to put the form together more so than anything else. So that's what we're after here. shadow area back in there is what I'm drawing in right now. Still not too dark yet. But there's little grooves and little contours on this little dress. But it's, right now it's all about light. Light, shading, shadow. See, I'm looking at the shape of this eye, and it's bugging me because see how it's nice and round-ish right there? I just feel like it needs to be like a little bit more like that, and it's bothering me. So, but I don't think I'm gonna change it, but it's just, sometimes people who are highly critical of their drawings, other people might look at them and say, oh no, it looks good, but it's because you're seeing those kind of little things, like it's just, the shape's just not quite right. But don't get hung up on it, because we're just learning. We're just learning how to do this. And learning is about trying and failing and trying again. And I'm gonna just commit to these eyes. Still not going too dark. But dark enough. Okay, so like right here, there's a little shadowy area inside the sleeve. I think it's a little bit lighter. So this is what I mean by extend the range of value just a little bit. Just a little bit. And then I can decide whether I'm gonna put in, this is like a cottony kind of blanket. And, maybe while you're doing this you go, okay, I wanna put some more of the grooves in of the sweater, or maybe you don't wanna do that. I'm just kind of seeing it. And what I'm doing right now, probably shouldn't be doing yet. It's very tempting to go dark sooner than you should, because realism requires subtle changes in value. And what I just did is I drew an outline. See, I drew a really dark line all the way around that, and that's not realistic. In the photograph, it's much lighter there. There's the white of the sleeve, and there's a different shade of white behind it, but there's no outline like that. So depending on my mood and my energy level, I might come back and erase that outline, or I might just leave it. See, because there's also too much outline right there. So, but there's some value right behind that. I think that's why I put the line there, maybe, or maybe I just wasn't thinking, talking too much. Subtle little places that are just a little bit darker. That's what we're looking for. cast a shadow on the face. So I'm going to try to show that now. Still don't want it to be too dark. Little bit of shadow under the nostril. Okay, so there's an arm there, and there's a sleeve. Then in front of that is some blanket. So I'm gonna try to kind of show the texture of the blanket a little bit, but keep it separate from the sleeve. And again, depending on my mood and how much detail I want to put into this later, maybe we'll come back and refine that a little bit more, or maybe we won't. Okay, there's the candy corn. It actually comes up a little higher in the drawing than I originally did it. It doesn't really matter, I could just leave it right there. But I'm just looking here, see there's the back going into the legs. And maybe it's because, yeah, there it is. So there it is. So that's what it is. There's a blanket back here, and then down here is where the clothing actually sits. So I can bring that down more to kind of match where this little candy corn sits. Maybe the candy corn is a little bigger. Maybe it comes up a little higher over here. And then there's this material back here. It's a black and white drawing. Sorry, lost you for a second. It's a black and white drawing of a color photograph. So the material of the dress is not really the most important thing. The face is. So, and the more I kind of look at this, the less I really want to add to it. I think I'm gonna work on the hand, the fingers a little bit. That's a place where a little bit of detail might contribute to the realism, and it might be worth it. Chubby. Actually, not that chubby. Little girl, little baby fingers. She actually had real long little fingers like her mom. The shadow back there. All right, now what? Now what? Now what? I think we'll pause again and come back on another recording. Let's look at this in the light.